Hey, it's Kyle, and it's the last day before my brother and his fiance Ruthie fly back home after visiting me this week in memory of my mom passing away about a week ago now. We've been having amazing discussions and talking about so many different things, and something came up today that actually is not related to my mom, but was something that was kind of in the moment that felt so cool and spontaneous. And I just immediately realized I have to share this with you, which is how I make my videos. I actually don't ever try to just make a video. I actually sometimes feel in an inspired moment to share what just came up, because in that moment a high vibration came through of just possibility, and I only know that based on one thing: it felt good when it came through. I don't sit there and go, is this something that would be a good video? Like, would this go the right way? Because the second I'm asking that, I'm trying to get something, I'm trying to get approval from you or whatever. So the concept is, and what really the truth is for me, is there's one factor that I've noticed between people who are feeling like they're struggling in life and the people that are feeling really fulfilled and kind of living their life in a way that's not only successful in career, but in relationship, in love, in health, in everything. And actually, this also applies to, this is the case for each of those categories. In other words, in areas where they're lagging, they do the opposite. So here's what it is, first of all. I've noticed that the people who are really, really fulfilled in their life, they talk from a place of what their calling is, what they want, and they're always talking about possibility, and they're also talking about what they're feeling in the moment. People that are struggling are often talking about their circumstances. So here is why there's two different worlds. Your circumstances are not your possibility. They're an old manifestation from an old world. In other words, every second there's things that are forming all the time. There's belief systems, there's things going on in the world, there's hate, whatever. And every second you have innovative ideas that are trying to come through. That could be a new creation, that could be a new career, that could be a new belief system, that could be something awesome. But if you're looking at circumstances, in this new moment, you're now thinking of an old world and re-bringing the old world into the new world. So you're continually getting more and more and more circumstances because you're talking about what was, and you're thinking you're talking about what is. Everything that's going on outside of us is what was. It came from an earlier idea. What is what's trying to come through you right now. This is what actually is what we should be studying and listening to. And if it's trying to come up, and you're talking about why you can't do something because of a circumstance over here, you're blocking the possibility, and you're re-bringing your old story in, so your new possibility can't come through. And after a while, you'll see some people only notice the circumstances, and they start living in a world that just honors the circumstances. So for instance, the news, that's old stories. Even if it's something that happened today, that's old stories. And people who are all of these innovative, amazing, free machines have this possibility to talk about possibilities and what could be and create an entire new world. But if you're instead saying, can you believe that thing that happened yesterday over in this other place? You're cutting off your possibility and re-bringing to the light a problem and an old story. So I've noticed that after time, my career formed because I almost didn't even notice the circumstances anymore. I noticed what I was feeling. I noticed excitement. And I didn't bring in the circumstance of, is that excitement possible? I just did it. And even if it felt not possible, I just did it, and then possible formed around it. And what I really also discovered is when you honor your possibility more and more and more, your old circumstances fix themselves around that possibility. So to know where you are, just listen to what excites you, what frees you, what would expand you, what calls to you. And if you might notice, it might be more comfortable for you to stay in the small story just out of habit. So the small story says, I'd love to, but I have this situation. That's you trying to stay in your old story as a victim, as someone that got love from your parents for being small, as someone who, whatever it was, you're scared to leave that story. But when you step into the calling and you don't notice the circumstance anymore, eventually you get better and better at the calling, and all circumstances fall off, and then all circumstances of why you can't fix themselves around you. So as I do this, there's tons of circumstances in my life of why I couldn't do something, but I don't notice them. And no circumstance can ever hold you down. But your belief that a circumstance can hold you down is what can hold you down. Your belief that there's legitimacy to that problem, your belief that there's a thing. So you might go, I'd like to do this, I'd like to create this company, but I don't have the money to afford it. And I always say this at my events too. You don't have the money because you're not creating it. And the second you step into the creativity, all kinds of ways for you to raise the money or to make the money or to do it on a percentage basis or whatever start to show up. And you notice more and more the possibilities than the why you can't. So every second you have a thing that shows up. I want to do this. Now, how loud is the I want to do this from your habit? If you've never honored that I want to do this, then you hardly even hear it. You're so much better at hearing why you can't because you've become a master at finding why it won't work. And that's what we do. And then there's other people that become masters at making, they don't even think of it as it will work. It just does. It doesn't, it's just a part of you. You just create it, you create it, you create it. You don't even understand circumstances. Your heart understands the possibility. Your mind understands the circumstances. If you're more and more talking about the circumstances of why you can't, you're more in your head. If you are more and more talking about the possibility, you're more in your heart. The more you move in your heart and do something, the faster more heart shows up, and you get this crazy exponential life where every day is exponentially better and better and better than the day before. And if you go through the circumstances over and over and over, you get this crazy same life where it's the same because you're so focused on old news and making old news the new news over and over and over again. So you got to ask yourself, am I going to step into the possibility or am I going to step into the circumstance? And if you hear this and you go, I'd love to, but here's why I can't, you're addicted to the circumstance. And if you go, I'm in, even if I've had 90 years of talking about the circumstances, I'm in, it breaks like that. And you get better and better and better at listening to your heart. And when you do that, everything will start to take care of itself. Everything. So, I know this is kind of a different topic than what's been going on this week, but a spontaneous moment happened and I said, I have to share that with you. So I hope that you hear that and you feel permission. And your possibility might just be to go meditate for a while, or it might just be let go. You'll learn why that's so important later, but there's a reason it feels good. And the real reason is so you can practice stepping into the feeling over the fear. So have a good night.